thank you all for joining us for our next session. Just to give you a heads up, this session, Design on the Dime with Erika, is going to use some interactive AHA slides. So you will see a QR code on the far side, which Erika will direct you to in a moment. Please do get involved. Interactive sessions always, of course, work better when we engage with the interactivity that's been created for us. Thank you all for returning. As I have mentioned, the recordings are already going live. So if you do want to check those out, you can do so this evening. But without further ado, I will shut up, get out of the way. Erika, the stage is yours.
Hey, thank you so much. Really excited to be here and to talk to you today about designing on a dime. So this hopefully is an interactive conversation. So I'm sure that you all have breath of life experience just like I do, and really just talking about some stories from the trenches to give you support, camaraderie on what it takes if you're a learning team of one or part of an organization who's just building up their learning, or if you've been in the game for a long time and you want to check out some new tools, this might help you as well. So we'll jump in and get started. We have the QR code to the left-hand side. We do have a fun little interactive quiz and a couple questions. So if you could jump in there. If you have your phone, you can go ahead and scan that QR code. If you're on a desktop, feel free to type into any web browser, ahaslides.com/JK4QM. So I'm Erika, and I have been in the space for over 15 years now. I'm just going to cap it at the 15-year mark. I think that's good enough. But I have been from anywhere from a learning team of one, working in a call center, all the way to building a team of 130 facilitators and instructional designers. So I started my career accidentally, like most of us. So I was in a call center, thought I'd be an 11th grade English teacher, was going to school one class at a time while I was working, and I made cheat sheets, which made my call times lower than everyone else's, which was a good thing. And so people asked what I was doing, and that somehow qualified me to be a trainer. And so I jumped into the classroom, loved it, ended up getting my degree in it. And that's really where I started as a learning team of one. And over time built my career and supported learners as much as 15,000 as a VP of instructional design, which we called Learning Solutions to sound a little cooler. Right now I actually work as an independent learning consultant. So made the leap last year, and this is super applicable no matter if you're in corporate or independent or thinking about it. So just wanted to share my experience and build a community of support around these topics. I'm a big fan of anyone joining learning. It's definitely a learned skill. So support a lot of transitioning teachers or people on the business side that are thinking about learning and development. It is definitely a skill set to build, but anyone who wants to and puts the effort in definitely can be successful. So these tools help enable us to do that no matter where you are in your career. So first question, just to see who we have in the room, what is your current role? You should have some options listed, so go ahead and select where you're at. All right. All right, we have a gamut across, so that's always really fun. But looks like we have a lot of instructional designers in the room, multiple roles, definitely been there, done that. I think I do that right now, actually, so I totally get it. Some LMS admins, can't live without them, so thanks for being here, and our facilitators. So this is really awesome. It's really nice to hear from a variety of people. I don't know, when we first joined into the field, I thought trainer was like the only thing you could do. But now there's several dozen roles and they can even vary company to company. All right, and one last question for you. How large is your learning team? All right. right. All of them, all of the above. That's amazing too. Seems like we're trending in the 2 to 5 category. That's great. All right. And talking about today's session, if there's something you'd specifically like to know or to learn today, and our K's and our W's in, anything specific you'd like me to talk about, I can weave it throughout the presentation. And we're just going to give a few moments for that. Free tools, woo woo. We do have a list for you. I have over 100 tools, no, over 50 tools that are $100 and less, and most of them are free. So we'll be sharing that spreadsheet with you today. I did not curate it myself. It's been done as I do these presentations with communities and people like you. So you'll be also adding to that document today if you have any things that you use that are out there that are cool, and we'll just keep building this spreadsheet as we go on. All right, tips for PowerPoint, learning objectives, great. High quality graphics for e-learning, yes. I remember speaking about tight budgets, I had a budget of $30 a year in my first role, so yep. All righty, cool. I think we're all on the same page here. This is great. Thank you so much for sharing your content there. So today we're going to really talk about strategies to build and scale learning teams. That has been something I've done over and over in my career, kind of accidentally, but really like to join organizations with lower levels of learning maturity and building them to where they are. And then, you know, when it gets kind of boring and things are kind of status quo, then I find a new adventure. So that's why consulting works great for my life. But we're going to also talk about how to adapt and innovate learning practices to fit budgetary limitations and organizational goals. And then we're going to give you that free sheet, and we'll talk through some of the tools that people are using to build things on a budget. So first story that really, when we look at the building on a budget and we look at the strategy, the thing is, when you have little to no money or little to no resources, you have to be amazing on the learning strategy side. And I found so much that people will focus on the tools, and this conversation is definitely about tools today, but really starting with the right strategy is going to get you where you need to be to help you scale and grow and prove value. So if we're starting the conversation with the tools, cheap tools, you're not going to get the intended results that you desire. We really want to focus on the learning strategy. This is our secret sauce. And again, whether you've been in learning for 15 plus years like I have, or you're just starting out, you have experience. You might have business acumen. You might have teaching experience. You might have just general life experience. I've brought a lot of work from being a mom. So no matter what it is, starting with the right learning strategy and getting people on board to that strategy is the most critical to success. So if you don't have a budget, you can't afford to waste time and waste resources. So starting with that strategy is number one. Now, when we're talking about a learning strategy, some people might think that a learning strategy is choosing what learning method. Is it going to be e-learning or instructor-led, or might be how long is the training going to be, or maybe what are the learning objectives? And all of those are important decision points, but even before that, we really need to focus on what the problem is we're trying to solve and how we're trying to solve it. When clients come to me, they generally come to me with a tell type ask, like, hey, we need this, we have this presentation and we want to make it an e-learning, or hey, we want to make this more engaging and we think videos will do that. So can you create a bunch of videos for us? When we are creating our pitch, whether it's in corporate or for me to my client, I don't just go, yeah, where do you want me to sign? Really doing an analysis to understand what problem we're trying to solve, and the best way to solve it is how we can get buy-in regardless of where our budget stands. So That means we're thinking like a business owner. We're thinking like a product owner, a design thinker, a data analyst. I'm sure there's other things out there, but with a business owner, I really put myself in the shoes of that executive, of that CEO, of that manager I'm trying to solve the problem for, and act like their money is my money. So how am I going to make sure that the learning strategy really supports the business outcomes? And how can I prove it with data? A lot of people don't speak the learning speak that we do. So we might be talking about level 1, 2, 3, 4. They want to see, how is this going to impact my business? And the learners generally want to see, if I invest time in the thing that you're creating, will it provide value to me? Will it provide value in my career? So one role that I had was to support an insurance company, and they were, I was working with the sales team, and they had a group of sales agents that they considered top performers. And these top performers were top performers because when they got a phone call for someone who might be interested in insurance, by the time they hung up that call, the person said, yes, I will buy insurance from you. And that's how you make money. So they call that like a first contact resolution or a first close. So we had a bunch of people, like a top 10% who were really amazing at that. Most people weren't. And then there were some on the lower level that were, pretty terrible at it. So they said, Erika, you know what? It's the new hire training. That's what we think. We think it's the new hire training. That is the reason why that the middle is so big. So we need you to get the middle to the top. And so the new hire training wasn't super formed. It was kind of like, depending on what part of the organization you worked in, different things were happening. So we knew we needed to synergize that. But when we were looking at what to build, we didn't just stop at, all right, let's update the new hire training, update the objectives, let's get a new process going, and let's get started, even though we had a clear need and a clear ask. Because when we started saying, what does success look like? Success looks like getting these other people to sell better. And when we learned, well, how is someone selling really well? We listened to calls, we talked to the top performers, we talked to the middle, we talked to the bottom. And in those conversations, we found that the top were not always using the most effective or ethical strategies. So they might get someone to buy the policy, but it maybe didn't feel in the best way. So anywho, we didn't want to train like anything unethical or perceived unethical. We wanted to make sure that we were doing things the right way. But the business leaders that wanted to hire me, they said, no, we want you to teach these things, right? So we had to find another way. So as we were talking about getting to those metrics and meeting the expectations, digging a little deeper, talking to other people in the business. And when I was talking to the learners, I found out there was a compliance requirement. And so then I talked to the compliance department, and we found that those high achieving people, they were successful because they were getting people to sell on the phone. But after they got off the phone, the people were calling their other insurance company back and saying, don't sign me up. So the people that were actually selling, the people's policies weren't effective. So we were able to show business value by taking the bottom performers that they're like, oh, you can take them off the phone all you want. Yeah, that's fine. They're not producing anyway. And really creating the program where we focus on the right and ethical behaviors. And we were able to convince and overturn to the organization that while this process might yield, instead of 80% of the time they say yes, maybe it's 50% of the time they say yes. At the end of that, the people that did say yes stayed and stuck with the plan. And when they stay and stick with the plan, you make money year over year. So it actually was more financially beneficial for us to do that. And because of us having an effective learning strategy and just spending a couple of more days digging, and that's kind of an extreme example, but in 3 months, it saved the organization, or made the organization, I'd say, $1.2 million in doing the right thing. So that is just like a story of like you being the business owner and thinking through and really getting the data and understanding. Now yours might not be that serious. I also work with a lot of startup companies. I'm working with a wellness provider, a real estate provider who are thinking about doing like course offerings, and thinking like a business owner means what is the right content and how are we going to prove it's successful? And we know it's not with smile sheets, right? So what can we do? Think about that ahead of time before you say, okay, we got to build this training and jump in there. So as a product owner comes from the tech space. I got to play a product owner for a year in a startup company, really random part of my career, but I learned a lot that really helped me on the learning and development side. And the one thing is I thought I was agile, JK about that. I really learned what agility meant by working with front and back end developers building new tech. So we jumped in, and what I saw that they did really well is they built an MVP. So the most basic version of what they want to do, and they found small pilots and tested and learned. So they didn't wait till it was perfect. They didn't wait till all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed, but they gave it to a very trusted and small group. So I've implemented that strategy in my learning strategy. So right now I'm working with a company to help them they're introducing some new talent work and helping people really understand skills and development and performance. And I'm creating a self-assessment. So I created one that I did in 10 minutes, to show people what it might look like. And we're implementing it with 2 or 3 people, but that could have easily taken 2 or 3 months to come up with. And is it going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But if you set the expectations right, you're going to be okay. Design thinker, our learners are the most critical component. So yes, the business matters. Yes, that, because you need to show your strategy and prove your value. So people are knocking on your door and saying, we can't live without you. We need you because you're helping us improve our business. But the learner sometimes is forgotten in that conversation. So you also want to focus on them and making sure that you're designing solutions that speak to them. Big mistake. When I was working actually on that, the insurance one, I was working with a bunch of salespeople and use the language that they were talking about. And when it got to the front line, they were like, I don't even know what you're talking about, right? Like it didn't resonate with them. So you want to focus on the user and build content in their moment of need. Do they really need to go to an LMS to go grab the content, or will a one in the moment of work support them a little bit better? Really think through that. And low tech solutions are just as valuable as high tech. Last but not least, we got to be a data analyst of some sort. So how are we going to collect data, and how are we going to use that to tell our success story? Again, you don't have to solve the world in a month or in a day, but you want to think about what that right next thing is. So as we are looking at data, what could we say to tell our story? And if it's level ones, if that's the only thing you got right now, be creative with the types of questions you're asking, and try to get to that level 2. Try to ask application questions. Just really think about that data, no matter how small or little your project is, that will make people go, oh my gosh, that worked. We need more of that. So what is the right next step is the question I ask myself a lot of times when I have these really big projects. And iterate in that small one, show the success, and then you'll get more runway. In my case, I got more budget, more talent, more time. So all of that is really helpful. Not going to spend too much time on this, but if you are jumping into an organization who is new to learning, I love this model for explaining this to non-learning folks in the business. It's worked for me time over time again. So it's the learning business maturity model from Tagoras. And basically it's, you look at the stages that you're in. And the point is, as you're more innovative, as you invest more in learning and development, it actually closes strategic and operational gaps that your company has. So business leaders like this because you can tie the learning to the business outcomes and get buy-in, like, wow, I can see how learning can make a difference here, instead of it being this thing that's off to the side that only you care about. So There is an assessment that goes with this too, which it's really meant for like customer success models. So you have to adapt it a little for internal design, but you can even ask leadership like where they think they are. And a lot of times they'll put themselves in the stage 1 and they get motivated to want to go to stage 2 or stage 3. So you get that buy-in and that internal support because you cannot do it alone. You need people on the business side advocating and supporting for your goals. So don't go blind into that room when you're pitching this new great idea. Make sure they're kind of all on board on it before you get in there. So it's just a rah, rah, shish, kumbaya. Everyone's excited. Everyone's happy. The next one is deciding on your learning process. Okay, Addie gets a lot of heat because it's been around for longer than most of us have been on this earth, but it is a good one, again, for non-learning folks to get. It's a pretty simple process. As long as you're really putting an agile twist to it and not really moving on to design until you fully analyze and kind of putting yourself in the box, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There are a couple other ones out here. I have no affiliation with this company, but it's something that when I look at, I really respect and I really like all the free resources that come with it. So 5DEI, they have a toolkit out there. It has PowerPoints on how to have an analysis conversation, and they have little micro videos. It's a great resource if you're jumping in or if you're trying to figure out how to best talk to your business leaders about learning and how it can impact business results. I'll do that right at the end just because this is not something I can grab right here. It's an image right now. All right, so what design model do you use today? All right, we have Addie, hybrid. You guys are so awesome. It's like, yes to everything. We have all of them, and I'm here for it. All right, so it looks like Addie's leading slightly. That's great. All right, we're going to go through these really quick because I would love to hear from you and I want to get you your tools. So after you do your analysis, then the research phase is really important. No matter who you are, no matter how small you are, I really encourage you to build a learning team website. It could be a Canva. It could honestly be a Word document, but something that people in your business, even if your business is 10 people, that can go to see what your offerings are, what you've worked on. And it's kind of like your, I don't know, your wall of achievements. Also, you might have your intake form there. And when I worked at that startup, I was, I think, like number 8 hired. I had an intake form right away. Just to get some legitness. But don't worry, I didn't ask them how they want their learning because we are not order takers. We're not adding extra pepperoni to things. But it's great and early way to show some validity in your process. So all of these things I've listed, I have some free tools. Okay, so let's go check those out really quick. I am going to throw a link in the chat. I also will have a QR code coming up here. And hopefully that works for us. Now, this is a document that, again, has been put together by a lot more people than I. So I don't want to take credit for it, but I would love for you to add to it. So if you could throw in some of your favorite low-cost tools that you're using, that would be amazing. I see Canva there. I love Canva, and that actually is one of my answers to some of your e-learning graphics. I use their magic editor all the time. I was once told at another conference that if you use Canva, you're not a real instructional designer. Well, listen, I've gotten more than one contract where I've only used Canva. So the dollars speak on that. There's nothing wrong with using Canva. What you get, where you get, Sure, if you are working in Adobe and you are extremely skilled and working on things, there's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome too. That's a specialty. But a lot of us are in a situation where we are doing a lot with a little. And so leveraging tools like Canva and AI and some of these other things that we're seeing here, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you have the amazing big strategy before you get the party started. Right? If you just put in a prompt in AI and throw it in the course and send it on your way, that ain't gonna work. No one's worried about losing their job with AI unless they're doing that kind of stuff. So that's great. Raymond put in the chat that if you are not for profit or nonprofit, Canva offers a free premium subscription. So that's pretty cool. Good to know. All right. Google Tools. Yep. Ooh, allthefreestock.com. I haven't heard of that one yet. Stable Diffusion. Snagit's my ride or die. I think that's the first design tool I ever got, actually, and I still use it today. All right, y'all, anything else in there? I've been a big fan of an app called Gamma.ai. It's a presentation tool. So I've been converting content for a client from like a Word document to a PowerPoint, and you just need to upload the PowerPoint, or I'm sorry, upload the Word document, and it gives you like a starter template to put it in, and it uses AI graphics too, and you can export the graphics individually. So that could also work for your e-learning. And it does start with a free subscription. So that's another good one. All right, cool. Just a couple of minutes left. So we do have the QR code there, but you got the link in the chat. I'm just going to skip through some of these because of time, and we're just going to go right to the little quiz here. And I just want to know how you feel about these 4 questions. So jump in. If you answer quickly, you get more points. If you answer correct, you get points. So jump in there with me. All right, we're ready to roll. Can you develop a portfolio for under $14? What do you think? Under $15. No, it depends on how you define portfolio here. A lot of people define it with e-learning. Again, let's see where we're at here. Yeah. So on that sheet, you'll see some tools. One, if we're talking about e-learning, CoAssemble is really great. It's free. It does have AI components. It exports in SCORM. So that's a cool little one out there. Just know the portfolios don't just mean e-learning. So they can mean your one-pagers and PowerPoints too. Just make sure you're not accidentally sharing proprietary information, and make sure you're not just using AI with no context. Build those case studies on that strategy. All right. Let's see where we're at here. Oh, we got a tie. Oh, that's a fake one. We're not doing that. That's for my old one. Sorry about that. Progress over perfection here in action. You're only a real instructional designer if you use Articulate or Captivate, for sure. I didn't have that title before I got those certified in those tools. Now, this is not to dismiss, again, people that really do. There's people that really dedicate their life and their skills to this, and the amazing stuff they can do and the impact it has is super amazing. I'm more of a generalist and kind of a holistic approach. All right. And last question. Beneficial approach when building learning solutions. MVP, just as a reminder, is the minimal viable product. It's doing something quickly and not perfect. You guys are so smart. A+. All right, Heidi is our winner. Woo! Great job, friends. All right, again, I am Erika, and you can contact me at the information there. Really enjoyed hanging out with you today, and thanks for the additional tools. I will add those, so if you follow that spreadsheet, save it to your favorites, you'll see that getting built over time.